Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To pick up where the chairman just left off, you said you'll check into that. Did you talk to the individual responsible for complying with our information requests? Have you had a meeting with that individual or that group of individuals?
Senator Johnson, my team knows, and I have talked to them about the need for transparency at every level and every stage. So beyond that, as a backdrop, no, I did not review each line item.
So who would be your direct report responsible for providing this committee the information, the subcommittee the information it requested?
Yeah, it'll be a combination of my counsel and my government affairs office.
Okay, so you'll talk to them today about this?
Yes, well, they're right behind me, and so I'm sure, yes, it's registered.
You said you've listened to the whistleblowers. Have you directly spoken to any of the whistleblowers?
I have not directly spoken to any of the whistleblowers.
Do you think that'd be a good idea to do that?
Yeah, I think it would.
I'd recommend it.
Yep.
Exactly what are you doing then to investigate the whistleblower complaints? If you haven't spoken to them directly.
Yes, sir.
I mean, again, have you just turned it over to your counsel or?
No, we have a team. We have an ethics hotline and a team of investigators. The most important thing in every whistleblower out of the chute is to make sure we understand the substantive issue that is being discussed and do safety analysis immediately and go out and interview everybody that's involved and or has touched any of that work and assure ourselves that we have safe airplanes. And if there are corrective actions to take with respect to the points that they make with us, that's what we do. And we try to get on that immediately. But there's always an objective view and a number of perspectives, particularly with respect to engineering disciplines that have to come to bear on it.
So how many employees does Boeing have?
170,000.
So having run a much smaller operation, I mean, first thing I can say is I realize that I don't control what everybody does. You try and set policies. You can communicate as clearly as possible. People are people. The question I have for you, because it's actually quite shocking to have a supervisor calling somebody up 19 times in one day, and making the statement that I'm going to break you. My guess is you don't condone that kind of behavior. Have you looked at your incentive system within Boeing? And let's face it, there's obviously pressure on your sales, from your sales force to your manufacturing operation to deliver the planes that they've sold to airlines. Again, there's pressure throughout companies, and I can just imagine that the pressure is being applied to Boeing associates throughout the company. Okay, I get that. I've been in manufacturing. But have you reviewed, for example, your incentive systems that maybe would drive that kind of behavior, having to meet quotas have you reviewed that?
Yeah, this year we made a number of significant changes to our incentive structure that really emphasizes all things safety, including the running a just culture with that respect. And a just culture, I think, is the environment that you would like us to run. And so yes, that incentive alignment is now in place.
So prior to our last hearing, one of the articles I read, whether fair or unfair, talked about your disclosures, it's probably the SEC, where you were scoring high on ESG and DEI, and your score was 0 on your quality. These are internal quality performance measures. Can you speak to that report?
That's a fact.
Because the point being is,
yes.
Is Boeing's management, are they concentrating on DEI and ESG and at the expense of really meeting your quality performance measures?
Senator, I've never seen those two things ever come into conflict. I don't believe my team has ever allowed for them to come into conflict in any way.
It's not necessarily conflict, it's what you're emphasizing, where you're putting your management emphasis.
Yes. Well, again, Senator, there's a comp system. There's also what we work on every day, all day, knowing how important and critical it is for the future of our company. Safety and quality is it. It's been that way since January of 2020 because of what we have been responding to. Safety and quality. That is what we talk about.
I'll mention another article, and the reason I'm doing this is one of the reasons we need a free press. It'd be nice to have a completely unbiased free press, but we need investigative reporting. We only have so much staff here at a subcommittee level or even a committee level, so we really do need journalists going out there and digging up stories. One of the ones I thought interesting before this hearing spoke to the very real problem, the difficulty you are having in finding, well, first of all, your workforce, manufacturing workforce is aging. You know, throw in COVID on there, early retirements, that type of thing, you lost a lot of experience. And in the past, it sounds like Boeing was able to tap into a workforce that had experience in the aerospace industry. And you don't have that luxury anymore. I'm not exactly sure when that changed. I know coming from manufacturing myself, it's been difficult to hire people in a manufacturing operation because, let's face it, we tell our kids, you got to get a 4-year degree and you want to be in management. So we don't encourage people to go into manufacturing. But can you speak to that issue, or maybe Mr. McKenzie can speak to that issue in terms of just your challenges in hiring people in a manufacturing setting for a very high quality, high demand aerospace industry?
Senator Johnson, and I appreciate the question more than you know. The post-COVID moment in the aerospace industry has been unbelievably difficult to navigate. We have 10,000 suppliers. We put almost 2.5 million parts into a 787. Boeing, because it's big and it has resources, even those were strained, we were able to keep more than most. But like you say, we turned over a lot of people, and yes, a lot of experienced people. Our supply chain experienced enormous turnover. So as we try to respond to unbelievable demand for airplanes out there, we have a supply constraint that is very real, and it is not resolved today. And I think one of the most important things we can do, we've done it in a few large instances, but now we have to train ourselves to do it at small instances, meaning every employee. If a part's not there on time, if a part's non-conforming, we will stop the line. So much of this relates to an untrained workforce. I tell you, it's all about that, honestly.